Sort of a quick follow-up to my first video about communist New York and the 78-degree AC rule, uh, tying it back to obedience. This reminds me of that, have you ever heard of death by 1,000 cuts? You know, it starts small, and eventually you become more and more obedient to whoever it is. It's a manipulation tactic. It's like there's a dating. I can't remember. Casey Zander has videos about this by ask a girl you're interested in to do you one favor, and then that they do that favor, and you give them positive reinforcement, and they're likely to do you another favor, and then another favor, and then another favor, and the favors get bigger and bigger and bigger as it goes, and then before you know it, you've got her right where you want her, which is a very horrible thing to do to a person, by the way. I can't recommend that, but it's what I think Mondami is doing with dictating where you set your thermostat. Also, to the mechanics of AC units and any HVAC system, it's again, it's an on-off system. So think of driving your car on the highway, where you're just constantly cruising. It's more efficient. You get better gas mileage. It's easier on your vehicle. Not stopping going. It requires more energy driving through the city, stopping and going. You get worse gas mileage in the driving on city miles versus highway miles. Think of that for your HVAC unit too, but in terms of power usage. So if you set it at 78 and it's 100 degrees outside, you're flirting with that on-off switch. And I don't know the measurable difference in, like, if you set it at 78 versus 68 on how often it'll kick on versus kick off. But I do think if you set it at 68, in the long run, I think it would require less energy, because it's going to run smoother longer, not have to stop and then restart. That's where the majority of your energy is, and that's where the most of the wear comes in on it. But if you set it at a higher temperature, at 78, it's going to be kicking on and off more constantly. Or that may be neutral. It may be the same. I feel like you can manage a 68-degree room much better than a 78-degree room, depending on the ambient temperature outside. So, talking out of my ass a little bit on that, but I think it makes more sense that if you keep your blinds down, do whatever you can to trap the colder air in, at 68, it's going to remain that temperature longer versus 78, where it's going to have to work harder by turning off and on. I guess this video is a follow-up to my first one, but it's less about the energy. I mean, even with Mamdami, he don't give a baker's fuck about the energy and the CO2 emissions coming off HVAC systems. He doesn't care about that. It's again, I think it's his communist New York agenda of obedience, death by 1,000 cuts. We'll start by telling them to set their thermostat at 78. And then we'll start by telling them to stay inside, not go outside. And then before you know it, the media is going to push fake, benefits of his bullshit policies. And people are like, oh my God, he's actually making a positive difference, when he's not. He's just, and the media is going to help him do this. It's just going to positive reinforce the benefits that's happened by setting the thermostat at 78, when really it's just making people suffer. Not suffer, but it's pretty near suffer. It's evil, it's wicked. Why would you do that outside of wanting micro control of your own person, your own comfortability, and where you work and where you live? Just remember that. Read up on Death by a Thousand Cuts and pay attention to what Mamdami's doing. Starting with this, I'm sure other things, but the 78-degree rule seems to be rising off the page right now, so I figured I would make a video. I didn't intend on making 2 videos about it, but after I posted the first one, Death by a Thousand Cuts came to mind, and I think that's relevant in what he's doing here. Or maybe he's just a good guy. Who knows?